From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli, and good morning to everybody watching on Click on Detroit, Local 4 Plus, and streaming on YouTube. You might notice it looks just a little bit different right now. This is just a temporary home. The studio is getting some revamps as we speak. Here's what we're working on over the next 2 hours, starting with a new warning from police about what is in your kid's Halloween bag or what could be there. If you look at the top of your screen, those Jolly Ranchers, Nerds, and Airheads look a lot like regular candy, but Warren police say there is THC and psilocybin mushroom products inside. We're talking to police in our next half hour, and we're also going to take you live to Jamaica, where a Category 5 hurricane is set to make landfall in the next 24 hours. Ashley Barrissey is tracking that storm. We're also dedicating this week to looking into the most dangerous driving spots in our communities. We're going to chat with the Michigan State Police about what the worst spots are for speeders. Let's start with your news headlines here on Monday morning. A woman is in stable condition after being shot by Detroit police. We're told she led officers on a chase not one, but 2 times before she was shot. This was around 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. An officer pulled over an SUV with an invalid license plate. Police say the woman behind the wheel refused to provide her driver's license, registration, or to get out of the car. She then called 911, and when more officers showed up to the scene, they were able to get her out of the car. Pepper spray was used, and then police say she got back in her SUV and drove off with an officer still hanging on to the car. This is now at Concord and Outer Drive. Police boxed her in, but police say she continued driving towards officers who fired multiple shots.
That's required if you're going to operate on a Michigan road, and it's also required that you don't flee and elude. That is a felony. So when you do that and make that choice, you just went from a civil infraction to a felony.
Now, Chief Edison said this is an example of why the department is cracking down on traffic enforcement. He's also planning to release body cam video from this incident. Firefighters are still keeping their eye on a Southgate senior living facility after a fire rekindled over the weekend. Crews had to go back to the scene on Sunday morning, but I think we're going to go to Ashley instead. Maybe. No, we're not. It just says we're going to Ashley. Ignore the graphics on your screen. We'll get to Ashley in just a moment. Let's try to get over to that scene from the American House on Allen Road near Dix, Toledo in Pennsylvania, if we can get there. The initial fire broke out Friday night. 1 firefighter and 1 resident were hurt in that fire. We're obviously not going to be able to show you that video at this point, but everybody did make it out safe. Investigators still trying to figure out how that fire started. Well, a Warren police officer is facing charges after he was accused of stealing money from a youth charity event. 29-year-old Jack Barnes is accused of misusing funds from the Police Explorers. That's a program for young people interested in law enforcement careers. Barnes was an associate advisor with that group, which held a charity event in July. After the event, another officer noticed something was off with the money. If convicted, Barnes could face up to 5 years in prison. All right, now we're going to talk to Ashley. We're going to talk about an area in Jamaica where a powerful Category 5 hurricane is heading towards the island. Hurricane Melissa is expected to become the strongest storm ever recorded there. As you can see here, urgent preps are underway with that storm expected to bring catastrophic rain and flooding. The storm is being blamed for killing 3 in Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic. Melissa is already shutting down Jamaica's airport, leaving some tourists stranded as those who live on the island are left with a decision whether to evacuate or to go to higher ground.
We really are just trying to prepare as best and weather the storm here.
We're definitely concerned about the damage, having service, like losing contact with everybody that we can. So definitely getting out is going to be a concern for us once the hurricane passes.
Now, the catastrophic flash flooding could isolate communities in Jamaica for days. Officials are also evacuating those in low-lying areas. The State Department is now urging U.S. citizens to get out of the storm's path while departures are still available.
I'd say we are as prepared as we can be for this impending prospective disaster. We're hopeful for the best, but we have put in place the various mechanisms across Jamaica, including the shelters and the emergency services. We have convened meetings with them, and they are fully activated to respond and to pursue rescue and recovery efforts when it is safe to do so.
All right, now this time we really are going to bring in forewarned meteorologist Ashley Barrissey to talk about that storm and what's happening.
Yeah, so the latest update that came out this morning, upgrading Melissa to a Category 5 hurricane. That's the strongest on the Saffir-Simpson scale. And so right now, sustained winds around 160 miles per hour as this massive catastrophic hurricane is just churning south of Jamaica. Now, outer bands already having impact, but the eye of the storm likely not going to make landfall until we get into the earlier part of Tuesday. But just showing you the scale here, you have to have sustained winds at 157 miles per hour for it to reach a Category 5, and we are now at 160 miles per hour. And so that in and of itself is going to make it a catastrophic storm, but it's going to be the flooding and the storm surge that will also wreak havoc, given that we are going to be picking up possibly upward of 30 inches of rain in Jamaica because it's such a slow moving storm. So westerly movement only at 3 miles per hour. So it'll continue to pound all of that moisture over the next couple of days. Storm surge around 10 feet. So as we put the tracker on, you can see how this will likely make landfall as a Cat 5 by Tuesday morning, then pushing into Cuba maybe as a Cat 3. Going into the early morning hours of Wednesday, late Tuesday, Wednesday morning. It will weaken some as it moves across the island of Jamaica, but then pushing into the open Atlantic waters. And so we'll continue to keep a close eye on that, as we know that that is very much a tourist area for Americans to go down to Jamaica, and of course going to be concerning for folks over the next few days. Real quickly, your out-the-door forecast here in Metro Detroit will be much calmer compared to what we're tracking in the Caribbean. Breezy, but we're staying dry through Wednesday with rain chances returning the end of the week. We're going to break that down for you in your full forecast coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Ashley, thank you very much. All this week, we are exposing danger zones. So we sent emails to our Local 4 insiders and asked where are drivers ignoring the speed limit, rolling through stop signs and other problems. And he told us the problem spots in your neighborhoods, including a viewer who says in her neighborhood, she's tired of people speeding. So Shantae Passmore went out to find who's doing it and how police are responding.
Hey there, we actually got called out to Livonia for speeders, but we didn't use our speed gun for 5 Mile Road. No, for the street it intersects, which would be Hubbard. And right now, neighbors say something has got to change.
For 40 years, Mary Trotter has called Hubbard Street home.
It is a lovely neighborhood. It's quiet. Our properties here are 1 acre, and we have it's a quiet street pretty much, but there is a lot of traffic. It's a cut through.
The tight-knit neighborhood has gone from being a safe haven to scary. Neighbors tell Local 4 drivers speed up and down the street between 5 and 6 mile roads, typically during the morning drop-off and afternoon pickup at school. The speed limit, 30 miles an hour. So we sent crews repeatedly to the area with our speed gun. You can see drivers clocked at going 45 miles an hour.
Somebody was going 41.
Another driver goes 42 miles per hour. Trotter is concerned. She's seen some close calls and fender benders. What she doesn't want to see is someone get hurt.
It's caused a lot of issues where it's very unsafe to cross our street where we have to go get our mail. I think it's quite dangerous now with this walk path, with now people walking and the cars are going over 45 miles an hour. And that's dangerous when the cars are right next to the person walking.
And if speeders think all of this has gone unnoticed by Livonia PD, it tells me it is well aware of this issue. In fact, it does enforcement here periodically, and it receives a lot of complaints from neighbors living on the street. Year to date, it's issued 225 tickets. We're in Livonia. I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
All right, Shantae, thank you so much. Coming up in 90 seconds, we're going to talk with the Michigan State Police about some of the more dangerous areas they're patrolling and what their advice is for drivers when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Our Danger Zone week is just getting started, where we were looking at troubled spots in Metro Detroit that are dangerous for drivers. A few minutes ago, you saw Shante Passmore out in Livonia. Now we want to talk to somebody who has seen a lot of troubled spots and a lot of dangerous roads through a very long career. Joining this morning, Lieutenant Michael Shaw with the Michigan State Police. Mike, thanks again for being here. You know, when you talk about troubled spots, there's probably 30 or 40 in every single community. It's kind of hard to make that list.
Right.
But I know your focus is mainly on, major thoroughfares and the highways and the freeways. Let's start with speed limits, though. I think one of the #1 issues that we always have in Metro Detroit is that there are what the posted speed limit is and what people actually go.
Right.
Right.
Yep, for sure.
And so how do you tell drivers that those speed limits there are for a reason when everybody else is doing 15 or 20 over?
And that's, I think, is the hard part, because drivers perceive speed limits where they feel safe. Unfortunately, a lot of the drivers feel safe beyond their driving abilities, right? So when we see those drivers that are doing, 80 down the Lodge, I mean, we know the Lodge is a popular one, the Southfield Freeway. The bad part about those two freeway systems is the way they were built. There's a lot of curves up and down, so you'll drive down those freeways and you'll see a lot of people all of a sudden darting off onto the shoulder because they can't stop in time because they're going too fast. So that's why that speed limit is down to 55 on those two speedways. And I'll call them speedways because that's what some people, think that they are. But you also have, you're trapped by walls, short ramps. There's a lot of reasons why those are set there. But a lot of people don't see it that way. They think, well, I'm a good driver, I can do that.
Right.
And that's the tough part about it is you're not that good of a driver that you think you are.
You know, what I found fascinating in some conversations I've had with road commissions in the area is that there is a lot of studying and data that goes into speed limits, right? Between the Michigan State Police, MDOT, and then your county commissions. They all work together to see what the speed limits really should be. These aren't just people throwing a number at the wall.
Correct. It's all based on the 85th percentile, right? So they go out there and they do traffic studies to figure out what about 85% of the people are doing. So you're going to always have some people that are going a little bit slower than that 85%, and then there are going to be some people going too fast. If you think 90 miles an hour is a good speed for you to be going, you're my problem. I mean, that's basically how we break that down, right? We're not talking about 2 or 3 miles over the speed limit, or the old 5 miles over and you should be okay. I set my cruise control for 5 over and I should be okay. We're not talking those speeds. We're talking speeds of 100, 120.
And that's normal.
That's
you see that,
normal,
don't you?
Everyday speeds. And then when you pull those people over, they just don't understand what the issue is.
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I want to kind of get away from speeding just for a moment, too, because we have seen so many. We say they're dangerous intersections, but I think a lot of times it's more confusion or just, and I'm sorry for saying it just bad driving. How many times do you see drivers just don't know what they're supposed to be doing, whether it's a blinking red or a four-way stop or a roundabout? It's like they have to go back to driver's training.
It's interesting because I was just thinking as I was driving, I don't drive a patrol car anymore, so I'm driving down here and I get on 75 from 14 Mile and I watch everybody stop at the yield sign at the end of the ramp. And we all know a yield means slow down, and if it's clear, keep going. Right. But they all stop for that. But then when you see people pull up to a stop sign, they treat it like a yield sign, and they kind of look and keep on going. So I think there's a little bit. We're in such a hurry now, and I think that's what it is. I always say, people have to be to work at 8, so they leave at 8:05 and hope they can make up that extra 5 minutes. I mean, it's just not going to happen that way. So we know that winter's coming. We kind of felt it today, a little chilly out there. They'll try to blame snow for their traffic crashes and things like that. But when it all comes down to it, these are all preventable crashes. Somebody did something they weren't supposed to do behind the wheel, be it speed, blow the stop sign, yellow means slow down, prepare to stop, not hit the gas and go as fast as you can through the intersection. I mean, we all know what people think these signs mean, but they have a distinct purpose. And, if you get in a T-bone crash at an intersection, the chance of losing your life through that crash is a lot higher, which is why we brought about roundabouts.
Right.
So.
And they work as long as people know how to use them.
Correct.
Which is a whole other conversation.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
We could do 2 hours just on
2 hours
roundabouts.
on roundabouts.
Let's talk more about crashes in terms of penalties, right? Because it's number one, you're concerned about injury. Then people start thinking about, okay, what kind of damage do I have to my vehicle? But also, there usually could be a ticket involved. There's going to be fines. Your insurance could go up. There's a domino effect here.
There is. I mean, and a lot of it is trying to determine who that bad driver is, right? And sometimes, no matter what it is, you know, let's face it, I can't put a trooper in the backseat of everybody's car, and when you start to do something silly, they give you a little smack on the back of the head and remind
I'm sure you would love to, though.
I would enjoy that. You know, I think I would stay on for that particular job. But, you know, it's driver responsibility, right? In every free society, the main compliance to laws is the person themselves, right? So you have to be the one that decides, I'm going to do the speed limit. I'm going to stop at that stop sign.
Yep.
And if you're not that person, then there's got to be some type of penalty involved with that person that we start to identify. Maybe this person shouldn't be behind the wheel because, you know, we have one trooper, he talks about this same guy that he's stopped at least 6 times for over 100 miles an hour.
Really?
Same pickup truck. He can basically stop, he can sit in that roadway and wait, you know, and as it goes by there, why this person still has a license still, I'm not sure.
You know, that's an interesting story, though, because you could say, well, this person shouldn't have a license, and there's a good chance they're still going to drive.
Correct. Yep. And then it kind of multiplies from there, right? Because now they're going to drive anyways, because they already can't understand what the speed limit is.
Right.
So, you know, what's a little suspended license, right? Then it kind of gets worse and worse.
Then I think distracted driving is probably another conversation there. I know that, you know, as we go through this and as the laws change, the numbers have helped. We've seen the numbers drop a little bit, but probably not enough.
Not enough. You don't have to be a police officer to drive down the road and see everybody still on their phone.
Right.
I mean, we all still see it. And, you know, and the first thing I hear, well, you cops have big computers in your cars. Well, one of the first things we teach our troopers in recruit school is, you know, don't pay attention to that computer when you're driving, pay attention to driving. And if you're
not streaming Netflix on your laptop when you're driving?
No. You would think if you read social media, you think we were, but no, that's not the case. And it's something that we review constantly because who's supposed to be the best driver out there is supposed to be that trooper, right? So when we see those type of issues, that's a problem. So when we see those issues with other drivers, that's a bigger problem because they're not even as close to being as trained as good of a driver as a trooper is. So, yep, we're going to have problems with that for a while until people finally realize that you can't be on your phone and try to drive.
If they start really realizing and treating a vehicle like it is a lethal weapon.
Correct. Yep. And that's the biggest thing. You know, we put a lot of science into a lot of this, but for the last 4 years, we know the most amount of crashes that we have every day is from 3 p.m. to 6.
Yeah.
And we know our most fatalities are from 6 to 9. We look at it year after year after year, and we see it. And what does that go with? It goes with, you know, the rush hour and people rushing to get back home because they've been at work all day, you know, and I get beat up quite a bit about HOV lanes, right? You know, oh, there's no enforcement on HOV lanes. Well, I would like to enforce the HOV lanes, but I'm too busy chasing down 100-mile-an-hour drivers, people on their phones, and people driving distracted in other ways. So,
Lieutenant, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Again. Take care.
Good to see you as well.
All right, we're going to take a short break here. When we come back, do you have a danger zone in your community? We do want to hear from you, so send us those tips. A problem with speeding, another dangerous driving issue. Leave us a tip, snap a picture on that QR code there on your screen, or head over to clickondetroit.com and let us know. So you probably had to blast the defrosters when you jumped in the car this morning, right? Lieutenant was just talking about it. The chilly weather is here. Fortunately, we are going to have some things to melt it away, though. Ashley is back. We'll look at your brighter week when we come back.
Well, it's a chilly start to this Monday morning as we are now going to take a live look outside at downtown Detroit, officially past sunrise. Not a cloud in the sky, so it is beautiful as you look outside, but it might feel a little different as you step out your door because we have 30s out there. We're at the coolest point of the day. We will work our way upward, but 37 degrees in the city. Same in Ann Arbor, 36 in Pontiac, and we're holding on to low 40s down into Monroe. But when you factor in a northeasterly breeze, there are some areas that feel like we are below the freezing mark. So you're waking up to some patchy frost that you'll have to scrape off your car window if you're about to head out and about pretty soon if you parked outside. But for this afternoon, we'll be rising into the mid 50s, so we'll have mostly sunny skies sticking with us throughout the day. Heading downtown tonight for the Pistons game. Well, tip off at 7 o'clock against the Cavs, and we will be in the 50s with clear skies through the dinner hour if you're going to be walking around downtown Detroit grabbing a bite to eat. But when you walk back to your car after the game, mid 40s, so it's going to be a bit chilly where you need that extra layer. Clear skies holding on to the Great Lakes thanks to high pressure. The closest activity is down by the Ohio River and off to the west into portions of the plains. So we steer clear of that really throughout the next couple of days. But then once we get into late Wednesday, now we're tracking some rain. So I'm going to give you the timeline here. I'll stop the clock by the time we get to Thursday. So I think Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon, the rain starts to drape southeastern Michigan. And then that's going to last into possibly Friday morning. But the latest model run keeping this out of here by Friday afternoon, which is great news for trick-or-treating given that Friday's Halloween. So we could have a little bit of cloud cover around the lunch hour, but we even clear some of that out going into the evening. Now we do get a little remnant moisture that builds in on the west side of the state by the time we get to Saturday. So I'm not going to rule out a stray shower chance for the weekend, but it's just that kind of isolated. So your trick-or-treat forecast looking a bit more promising when it comes to wet weather. I'm actually clearing out cloud cover, but it'll be windy. So windy instead of wet. But hey, that's more of a treat than a trick, I would say. You just have to pin down any of the hats that you're wearing for costumes. But morning rain chance followed by cool, breezy afternoon. We'll spend the evening in the 40s. Now, if you are heading to the Michigan game on Saturday, night game at the Big House, and you can plan for 40s there as well with just that slight shower chance. Mainly mostly cloudy skies. Doing any tailgating outside of Ford Field on Sunday, it's a 1 o'clock kickoff against the Vikings, and you can plan for probably low 40s for tailgating and then low 50s by the time you leave Ford Field. But there is that stray shower chance one more time. Otherwise, mostly cloudy conditions. So breaking down the 7-day forecast, not a huge fluctuation with the temperatures. However, 57 is average. We're kind of hovering there today and tomorrow, but we do slide just a little bit below average for your Thursday, Friday into the weekend. Overnight lows might not be quite as chilly as they are this morning, but still on the cool side as we'll be on either side of 40, and we could have some of the suburbs in the 30s again tomorrow where you wake up to the patchy frost. That's a look at your full 7-day forecast.
All right, Ash, thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some interesting Halloween candy and why parents want to take a good look through that candy bag when the kids are done trick-or-treating because it's something that Warren police have seen and now want to warn you about. Also, we're going to come back in 5 minutes talking with them about that issue. We'll be right back. Why was that? Good morning, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli with the Local 4 update. Today, we are expected to learn more about the 35-year-old woman arrested for the murder of an 83-year-old man in Royal Oak. This is cell phone video taken outside of the scene on Saturday morning, but it actually happened Friday night on Sheridan, just a block off of Woodward near 14 Mile. We're told the man was found stabbed to death in the basement. The woman was taken into custody after a short chase. And here's what we have coming up on the streaming side over on Local 4 Plus. We are talking with the Warren Police Department to make sure your kids' Halloween candy is not problematic after officers found candy containing THC and magic mushrooms. Plus, are you preparing for the busy holiday shopping season already? Expert thinks we'll all be spending less this year. And we chat with the DNR on a program connecting hunters and wild game processors to help charities feed people. Ashley has your full forecast when we come back in just a moment.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. We're going to start this half hour with a crazy story that came in the Detroit area that happened last weekend. In fact, we're going to learn more today about the person arrested for stealing an ambulance with a paramedic and a patient inside, and then later crashing it in Northville Township. Now, paramedics were responding to a call that happened on Friday afternoon in Novi when someone involved in the accident jumped into the ambulance and then took off. The ambulance traveled several miles before crashing into another car at 8 Mile and Beck Road. MedStar says the ambulance is a total loss. Everybody involved had non-life-threatening injuries, and again, we could learn more about the person who is accused of doing that sometime today. Also today, DTE and Mayor Mike Duggan are hosting a groundbreaking for the massive 42-acre solar array area over in the Van Dyke Lynch neighborhood. Now, the project is 2 years in the making, and the city will begin the work on a total of 5 neighborhood solar projects. The solar arrays will replace vacant lots with new landscaping selected by neighbors. In total, the city will build 165 acres of solar fields, enough to generate enough clean energy to power 127 city municipal buildings. The groundbreaking will take place later this afternoon on Elgin Street over on the city's east side. Well, this week, the government shutdown hits a critical phase that could affect millions more Americans. The USDA says SNAP food assistance will stop Saturday for about 42 million people. This is the same day open enrollment begins for the Affordable Care Act, and premiums are expected to soar. Now, it doesn't look like the shutdown is going to end this week. House Democrats return to D.C. However, House Speaker Mike Johnson has not called back Republicans. Well, French police have made some arrests in connection with that brazen theft of millions of dollars of royal jewels at the Louvre in Paris. 2 men suspected of organizing that theft and being part of a criminal plot were taken in. One of the men was caught Saturday at Charles de Gaulle Airport, just as he was about to leave the country. Investigators are still on the hunt to find everybody involved as they work to secure the 8 stolen crown jewels worth about $102 million. Well, listen to this. 5 chefs, a butcher, and a cafe all packed inside of a gas station. It's one of the stops we're making to find the finest dining on your road trip. Gas Station Gourmet when we return. Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. A short time ago, Warren Police sent out this photo. It looks like your typical candy that you find at the grocery store or a drugstore or certainly passed out on Halloween, but it's not. Police say they found several bags of candy, chips, and snacks that contain THC and psychedelic mushrooms during a search of a Warren home. So now they want all parents and kids to be alert when they're trick-or-treating. For more on this, we have Lieutenant John Gajewski with the Warren Police Department joining us live. Lieutenant, thank you very much. First of all, this is pretty alarming. Like we always talk about the potential for nefarious people to be doing things or putting things in candy. But when you look at these bags, anybody would assume that it's safe and legit.
Oh, absolutely, Nick. I think, for any parents out there, this is a great lesson because these items fooled trained police officers, right? Let alone 4 and 5 or 6-year-old kids. So our investigators, when they were searching this residence, they looked at these items and at first glance paid no attention to it. It was only going back and inspecting them further did they realize that these items aren't quite what they're advertised to be. So that's why we wanted to put this out there. Obviously, there's a lot of Halloween events, and Halloween's on a Friday. And our goal was to, educate and inform the public about, some Halloween safety tips, especially with candy and chips and packaging and what have you.
Right. So, Lieutenant, I'm sure you can't talk about, a whole lot of the investigation, but can you kind of explain why you were there in the first place? Like, as you were searching, was it because of items like this, or did you just happen to come across them in an unrelated manner?
It was kind of a combination of both. Our investigators were following up on a routine felony investigation. They executed a search warrant at a Warren residence, and during the scope of that search, they seized several items, and it's when they stumbled upon the candy and items here. And as I said, trained investigators, they didn't even pay it much attention on the first glance. It was only when they started to go back and look at it they realized, hey, this is something that isn't quite what it's supposed to be.
So obviously, when you look at the photo, maybe we can put it up again here, it looks so real, but is there anything on there that is what kind of made your detective say, wait a minute, something's just a little bit off?
Yes. So, I mean, some of the packaging looks very real. We're talking the same type of, corporate logos, the bright colors, all of those traditional markings. But then you see in some of the small letters like there, I'm looking at the nerds, you do see THC. You do see in one of the other packages, they do have, it's called medicated. And again, that's fine and well, but to your average child, they're either not going to know what that is, or they're going to be so excited with the, excitement of Halloween, they're going to open the bag and get right to the candy like any of us would as a kid.
Right.
So that's why we wanted to put this out there and just, if you're a parent or a kid, give that moment a pause before just excitedly diving into the candy.
Right. So, which also opens up another question too, because we're in a changing world where more things like this are legal than they used to be. So, the candy itself that might have the THC, that's probably legal. It's the packaging that's the issue, right?
It's the packaging, and I think it's more about the representing what you're actually getting, right? Mm-hmm. I think most people, if you look at these items, that they wouldn't pay it much attention. One of the items that stood out to me was there was a Lay's bag of barbecue potato chips, which a lot of people, myself included, would love to have with your lunch or a snack. So if you saw somebody eating that, you probably wouldn't give it a second thought. Our goal in this is to just make people think and read the packaging before they have the contents, right? If somebody knowingly wants to consume these and they're of age, certainly that's fine. We just don't want to see anybody think that they're getting a regular candy and then get THC, because that can have very, very serious medical consequences.
Right. Obviously, the timing of this is of the utmost importance. We always talk, I read the same scripts every single year about the potential for people doing bad things and putting things in candy and put razor blades in chocolate bars and things like that. And most of the time, most parents say, that's not real, it doesn't happen. But here it is.
Yeah, and I mean, here's one of those cases again where somebody could just innocently get their hands on this, right? These could be out at a party for adults and have all forms of items out, and a kid could just grab these purely by mistake. So even away from the specifically targeting children, if somebody's packing up a lunch or something, these could accidentally land in a school lunch, and these accidents, these could have serious consequences. So like I said, it's one of those things that when we all talked about it here, we said we have got to get this out to the public, especially this week, because it's an eye opener. And if it even, helps one family, one kid, one house, just take a moment of pause, look at the candy before eating it, then it's worth it.
And I know it sounds like a daunting task because it is. You can take the pillowcase and dump out the hundreds of bags of things that you're going to get all over the kitchen table. But I think you have to spend the time now and really look at each individual piece of candy.
I think you do. And, we put out the classic, the Halloween safety tips, but the classic for a reason, because they work, right? Inspect the packaging. Don't eat any items that are not wrapped or, in a wrapper. Certainly, if something gets loose in your bag, you might want to stay away from it, right? And if you have any questions, if you're a child out there, go to a parent, go to adult you trust. And if you're still not sure, come to your local police department, right? Yeah. As excited as we all are for Halloween, and as a parent myself, it's definitely worth the extra couple of minutes to make sure your child is getting the right candy or the right snacks.
Absolutely. Okay, Lieutenant Gajewski with the Warren Police Department, thank you so much for putting out that photo and letting us know what we should be looking out for this year.
Thank you, and everybody out there, have a happy and safe Halloween.
Thank you, sir. Well, and actually, speaking of Halloween, is the weather going to give us a trick or a treat? Ashley is going to have that forecast. How many layers do we have to have under the costume? We'll talk about it when we come back.
Well, good Monday morning. We came off a pretty spectacular Sunday, and we'll take those conditions into the first part of the work week, but it's a chilly start. A lot of folks waking up to some frost on their windshield, so make sure that you give yourself a few extra minutes to scrape that off if you're running some errands this morning. Otherwise, we're staying dry through midweek. Then we have some gusty winds that start to build in as early as this afternoon, and we'll have breezy conditions throughout a good chunk of the week, but rain chances hold off until we get into the later part of the week. Before you get too scared about that Halloween forecast, well, I do think that we have some better news as far as the trick-or-treat portion goes, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. Here's a live look at downtown Detroit, where there is not a cloud in the sky. Blue skies over the area, sitting at 37. 37 in Ann Arbor, 36 in Pontiac, and we have 41 down into Monroe. But worth pointing out the northeasterly winds that we have, even if they're between only about 5 to 10 miles per hour, it is enough to make us feel a bit cooler. So a lot of areas waking up with wind chill readings feeling closer to the freezing mark, if not just below it. So that will result in some of that frost. Otherwise, this afternoon, we're warming things up into the 50s. So forecasting 56 for the afternoon high, which we get to closer to about 3 o'clock this afternoon. But with the clear skies, we'll have another cool night ahead as we get what we call radiational cooling. So you start to see that cool down as soon as that sun sets, which will be a little impactful if you're leaving the Pistons game tonight and you forget your coat. So reminding you to have those extra layers if you're heading to LCA tonight for that 7 o'clock tip-off against the Cavs. So clear skies is what we hold on to, but we'll be in the mid-50s if you're grabbing a bite to eat before the game. Otherwise, mid-40s as you're walking to your car once the game is done. Satellite and radar, not much to show you across the Great Lakes. Of course, there's more activity down by the Ohio River, and then there's that low pressure system that's off towards, I would say, the plains. Otherwise, high pressure to our north, really dictating the Great Lakes region, clearing out the cloud cover and keeping us pretty clear over the next 48 hours. Even Wednesday is shaping up to be rather clear until the clouds begin to pump in at night. Rain chances begin to build in as we get in the early part of Thursday, and even by Thursday afternoon, still holding on to a sliver of rain. Now, as we head to Friday, you can see that that rain is lifting off to the northeast as the morning rolls on. So that's even downplaying some of the morning chances we had just a couple hours ago with this model. Still a bit of moisture across the Great Lakes where you can't rule out a stray shower or sprinkle through the weekend. But I think it's looking pretty promising for the trick-or-treat forecast that we could stay relatively dry, but it will be windy. So hold on to your witch's hat. We will be in the 50s throughout the mid-afternoon hours, but likely more so upper 40s for trick-or-treating with that very slight morning rain chance. If the kiddos maybe have an outdoor school parade in their costumes, let's hope that we don't see some of the rain in the morning, but trick-or-treating just a cool breezy forecast where the kids will need an extra layer under the costume and the wind could play a factor making it feel a bit cooler as well. Saturday will be cool for the night game at the Big House. Plan for 40s at kickoff, that 7 o'clock kickoff against Purdue. Slight rain chance, as I mentioned. We're holding on to moisture across the region, so you can't rule out a little spritz or sprinkle, but I think otherwise we're mostly cloudy and we're in the low 40s by game's end. Speaking of 40s, we're going to have that for tailgating outside of Ford Field come Sunday. We missed the Lions this week for the bye week, so we have them back in action 1 o'clock on Sunday at home against the Vikings. 48 degrees as you get close to kickoff, and as you're leaving Ford Field, will likely be in the low 50s, but I can't rule out that rain chance across the area. So your 7-day forecast keeps us in the 50s all 7 days. We'll be in the likely low 40s throughout a good chunk, but we do fall into the upper 30s for those overnight lows heading into the weekend. So a calmer start to the work week with a little bit more activity as we get to midweek and beyond.
The chance of rain. Okay. Thanks, Ash. Still ahead, we were looking for some of the best food in Metro Detroit inside of gas stations. You won't believe the spot that Jason Colthorpe found in Clarkston. We're going to take you there. He's going to take you there next. Welcome back, everybody. For the past few years, our Jason Colthorpe has been on a mission. I'm not talking about world peace or animal rescues. Jason's thing is food, and we understand why. Specifically, the hidden food gems inside of Metro Detroit gas stations. For this latest installment, Jason really found nirvana. Turns out, all you had to do was go to Clarkston.
We're back with another gas station gourmet, and since the last one, we've been besieged with emails. Check out this place, check out that place, but none more than Alex's Gourmet Market. And it sounds like a cute little place that... All of this homemade?
Yup, all homemade, in-house.
Everything we're walking by here.
Fresh ingredients. We got fresh sushi, but we have a sushi chef just for sushi. Pastas, you name it, we got it. This is like where we do all of our sandwiches to go. Like you can come up and order a sandwich from here. You can order a shawarma to go.
27 different wraps and sandwiches available.
Yup.
Oh my gosh. I take it you guys come here for lunch all the time.
We do, yeah.
What makes it so awesome?
Everything here, man. There's just such a big selection.
The meat counter. Man.
We got a butcher that works back here like 5 days a week, so he'll come in, he'll cut fresh meats daily.
A butcher.
We do
5
have a
chefs
butcher.
and a butcher.
Yep.
All right. I'm trying to keep track of all of these.
I know, there's a lot of us.
We finally found the gas station aisle. Chips, motor oil, and insect killer. The grocery store part of it. Is it to have everything anybody needs at a regular grocery store? or just kind of the basics?
Honestly, to have everything that everybody needs, but then there's stuff like you'll find stuff here that you wouldn't find at like a normal like supermarket or grocery store.
And like any good gas station, they have, of course, a couple of bottles of booze to choose from. And when I say a couple bottles, I mean, is it a gas station that just has an incredible market, restaurant, etc., or just a great destination market, restaurant, liquor store that just happens to have gas?
Definitely a great destination that just happens to have gas.
We'd also be remiss if we didn't mention the inspiration for Alex's, and that's the owner's son, who he lost at the age of 14 to an accident.
So I said, if we're gonna dedicate it to Alex, everything is out the window. It's gotta be very special. It is an icon, very, very proud of it. It's me and my two sons manage it every day. We're very blessed, but I always tell them the main manager is above. We're being managed from above, and I truly feel the presence of Alex all around us.
All right, that's gonna do it for Alex's Gourmet. What a place, right? We're hitting the road. We are
But
going.
wait, I have to show you the cafe.
Wait, the cat.
Yeah,
there's
right
a
this
cafe.
way.
There's a cafe. Oh my. What is this?
So this is our affogato. It's very popular. It's our gelato, any choice, any flavor, with a little bit of espresso over top of it. Like a sweet treat for an adult.
Yeah. While I try this, which I've never had before, tell me about the cafe.
So the cafe is open every day until 10 p.m. We do our different kinds of coffee drinks over there. We brew fresh espresso. We also juice our fresh juice during the week that we set out into the market.
This is absolutely amazing. I literally blacked out. Did you tell me everything about the cafe already?
I think so. We do the fresh pressed juice. We have different coffees to offer, fresh espresso brewed daily. We do some sweet treats, some cheesecakes made in-house.
All right, well now that's it for Alex's. Wow. Next time.
Wait a minute, we haven't seen the tap room yet.
This place is amazing.
Yes, we host parties out here. We also have live entertainment on the weekends out here every Friday, every Saturday.
And how many taps?
101 taps.
101 taps on the bar.
A lot of people love the coffee plates here at Alex's.
I bet. At all times of day, probably, huh?
Oh yeah, yup, morning, noon, and night, believe it or not.
I can tell you are an attention to detail kind of guy with the way you garnish everything. It's gotta be nice to know that you have all the garnishes in the world right down in the market.
We do, yeah. It really makes making these drinks a breeze, and we can get crafty as we want to be with them.
We also have our own kitchen up here with our own separate menu. I did get you guys some appetizers over here to taste, to try.
Nice. All right, Ben the photographer has joined us.
This is my favorite part.
This is always the best part. I need you. What do you think, I can eat all this by myself? And we also have added some spicy chicken soup.
Spicy chicken soup.
Oh man, which I knew would be good. And I just can't get over the presentation.
I don't even want to eat it. It looks too pretty.
Too pretty.
I would hang that on my wall.
Let us not forget, dude, we are in a gas station here.
Honestly, as good as everything has looked, it's tasted even better.
These flavors are just intertwined and blowing up. Finally, the full experience of Alex's.
But guys, you haven't seen the golf or the bowling yet.
No way! So of course you have a bowling alley here.
Yeah, so we have 4 lanes. We can do 6 people per lane. You can actually rent this out and do like a pizza party style. So we can bring our pizza that we make downstairs, bring it up here to offer for like a kid's birthday party, so to speak.
I was just gonna say, this has got birthday party written all
Yeah.
over it. Let's throw a few strikes here. Let Big Earn show you how it's done. No! No! Whoa! Yes! So a golf simulator.
So this is our golf simulator, yes. And pick your course.
Yeah.
People love it, they enjoy it. You can bring your own clubs if you'd like. We do have some we offer.
Same thing, probably like you book a party for guys just want to play golf.
Especially when the the sun goes down and the courses are closed. They can come in here and have this. They can still have the party going.
Right down the middle. How do we sum it up? What a great place, amazing. There aren't enough superlatives. What are you doing over there? What's happening?
We ran out of gas. We forgot to fill up.
Ben, it's called Gas Station Gourmet.
We had so much fun.
Looks like we're walking.
Why'd you have to order so much food?
It's so good. I got to take it with us. I can't believe this.
I can see it right now. Honey, I've got great ideas for a date night. I can't get in though. They don't take reservations. And by the way, Jason is a true professional, a great journalist, but there was one false line in there that he can't eat it all by himself. I'm sure he can handle it. Much more ahead in the next hour of news right here. It's Halloween week, but have you already started planning for Christmas? Well, you might want to plan on getting fewer gifts this year. And hunters are helping feeding families in need all across Michigan, how you can get involved in a program, and how Google and Ford are teaming up to take drivers on quite the road trip. More news and weather in the next hour of Local 4 Live. Stay with us.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. There is a lot coming up in the next hour. A live look here at Campus Marshes in downtown Detroit, where that big Christmas tree is going to go up in a few weeks. And if you're already planning your budget out for the holiday shopping, experts say you may be buying fewer gifts this year. Also, one group in particular plans to spend less than others. We are also keeping an eye on Hurricane Melissa as that Category 5 storm is barreling towards Jamaica. We're going to look at the conditions there right now. And later, how hunters in Michigan are helping families throughout Michigan areas. We'll explain the strange but really great partnership. All right, first thing up this morning, Warren Police urging parents to double check kids' Halloween candy this trick-or-treat season. This after officers found some dangerous candy in a Warren home. Take a look at this. The candy may look pretty normal, but Warren Police found these contained both THC or magic mushrooms. Now they want all parents and kids to be on alert when they are doing their trick-or-treating.
This is a great lesson because these items fooled trained police officers, right? Let alone 4 and 5 or 6-year-old kids. So our investigators, when they were searching this residence, they looked at these items and at first glance paid no attention to it. It was only going back and inspecting them further did they realize that these items aren't quite what they're advertised to be. That's why we wanted to put this out there. Obviously, there's a lot of Halloween events, and Halloween's on a Friday. And our goal was to, educate and inform the public about, some Halloween safety tips, especially with candy and chips and packaging and what have you. Some of the packaging looks very real. We're talking the same type of, corporate logos, the bright colors, all of those traditional markings. But then you see in some of the small letters like there, I'm looking at the nerds, you do see THC. You do see in one of the other packages, they do have, it's called medicated. And again, that's fine and well. But to your average child, they're either not going to know what that is, or they're going to be so excited with the excitement of Halloween, they're going to open the bag and get right to the candy like any of us would as a kid.
Well, the Warren Police Department is reminding all trick-or-treaters and their families to do the following this Halloween. Be sure you carefully take a look at all candy and treats before you allow your kids to eat them. And make sure to discard any unwrapped, loose, or homemade items unless you know and trust where they came from. Also, as you see there, look for unusual packaging, odors, or discoloration that could indicate tampering. And remind kids not to eat any treats until they get home and have an adult double check them. If you discover anything suspicious, don't handle it. Just contact your local police departments. Well, a woman is in stable condition after she was shot during a confrontation with Detroit police. Officers say she led them on 2 separate chases before the situation turned violent. It started at about 3 o'clock on Sunday with a traffic stop. Police say the SUV she was driving had an invalid license plate, and when they approached, she refused to hand over her license or even get out of the car. When she called 911, she actually called 911, bringing more officers to the scene. Police say they eventually got her out of the SUV. Pepper spray was used, but then she got back in and took off with an officer hanging on to the vehicle. Officers boxed her in at Concord and Outer Drive. They say she kept driving towards them. That's when officers fired multiple rounds.
That's required if you're going to operate on a Michigan road, and it's also required that you don't flee and elude. That is a felony. So when you do that and make that choice, you just went from a civil infraction to a felony.
Detroit Police Chief Todd Edison said this incident is an example of why the department is cracking down on traffic enforcement. He also said he is planning to soon release body cam video from this incident. Well, firefighters are keeping their eyes on a Southgate senior living facility after a fire rekindled this weekend. Crews went back to the scene yesterday morning at the American House on Allen Road near Dix Toledo in Pennsylvania. The first fire broke out Friday with hundreds of first responders from downriver and Detroit rushing down there. A firefighter and one resident were both hurt, but everybody did make it out safely. The fire caused some pretty bad damage. Investigators say they're still working to determine how all of it started. Well, gas prices are back on the rise across Michigan, up 29 cents in just a week. AAA says drivers are now paying an average of $3.08 a gallon for regular unleaded. That's 2 cents more than last month, but still a nickel less than this time last year. Metro Detroit's average is right at $3 a gallon, up 16 cents from last week. The most expensive gas is in Lansing and Ann Arbor, while Traverse City and Marquette still have the lowest prices in the state. Let's take a live look over at Campus Marshes in downtown Detroit, where the Christmas tree is soon going to be going up. And in 25 days, you'll get to watch the tree lighting live right here on Local 4. There's actually 59 days until Christmas, but if you're planning for some holiday shopping, you might want to plan for fewer gifts this year. A new survey from Deloitte finds 77% of people expect higher prices on holiday items this year. People are planning on spending an average of almost $1,600. It's actually down 10% from the year before. But when you ask Gen Zers, they are planning to spend 34% less compared to last holiday season. So to understand what all of this means, we're joined by Steve Rogers. He is Deloitte's managing director in the Consumer Industry Center. Steve, good morning. Thank you for joining us. My first question, obviously, people think things are going to be more expensive, but do you think they actually will be more expensive?
Good morning, Nick, and thanks for having me. Well, I think we're already seeing that on the shelves, right? There are a lot of factors that are driving pricing this year, including tariffs, et cetera. So, yeah, they might see some higher prices out there. So I think consumers are pretty savvy about that.
Yeah, well, they understand it. They're not happy about it. Neither am I.
Right.
So I'm interested by the Gen Zer portion of this, saying they're planning on spending 34% less. Is that because they're not going to be buying as much, because things are more expensive, a combination of both?
Well, Gen Z's told us that they're facing a pretty tough financial situation. It's worsened this year for them, and the cost of living is higher. They've also said that they are simply saving and paying down debt. But that doesn't mean they're disengaged, right? They're redefining what value means, right? They're being creative. This is a generation that is digitally fluent, and they're more likely than anybody else to make gifts, buy pre-owned luxury, or prioritize experiences over stuff. So, Gen Z is showing us that we can celebrate with purpose, not pressure, and they're curating on a budget.
Interesting. So if I make you something handmade, would you be happy?
I don't know. What are your skills, Nick?
We don't have to talk about that. That wasn't the purpose of this. Hey, so again, going backwards here a little bit, on average, people are going to spend $1,600. Where's that number in the trends year to year?
So as you mentioned, that's 10% down from the previous year, right? And so it's the sharpest pullback we've seen in a decade. And what we're seeing here is holiday shoppers are definitely feeling the economic pressure. Mm-hmm. 6 in 10 tell us they expect the economy to worsen in 2026. That's the least optimistic outlook we've recorded since we started asking that question in 1997, right? That's rough. That's rough. So, they're getting creative. 9 in 10 shoppers plan to hunt for those deals. More tapping loyalty points, trading down on brands. And making those DIY gifts.
Right. So it sounds kind of like the perfect storm in terms of holiday shopping. You've got economy that isn't as great as some were hoping for or were expecting. You've got pricing that's going to be up, inventory probably going to be low because of tariffs. It could be a challenge for people to get what they were hoping to do or plan to put together their budgets.
It could be a challenge, right? And part of the way people are handling that is gift cards and clothing are the top gift categories, right? Toys are still holding their own, so some of the traditional categories. But things that may hit some of those dynamics you're talking about, like electronics, we expect those to take a back seat this year. And then it's not all about things, right? Half of consumers say they plan to give experiential gifts like concerts or restaurants or spa outings.
It's funny you bring that up because I had a conversation here in the newsroom a week or so ago about how it seems like there is a trend now that the physical gifts is kind of going by the wayside a little bit in exchange for, in favor of, I should say, as you mentioned, these experiences, making memories versus unwrapping the latest trinket.
That's right. And we've seen that over time, right? The move's been a little bit more towards experiential. And then when you look at the declines this year, The gifts, the physical gifts, are definitely down more, but the experientials, not so much.
Yeah. Okay. Steve, thank you so much for your insight today. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Nick. Have a good one. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You too. When we come back, we asked and you answered, viewers pointing us to danger zones on their streets in Metro Detroit. And this week we're uncovering what's happening at some of those dangerous spots and how police plan to crack down. First, we're gonna go to Livonia. Welcome back, everybody. All this week, we are exposing danger zones. Now, we sent emails to our Local 4 insiders asking where the drivers are ignoring the speed limits or rolling through stop signs and other issues. And you told us the problem spots in your neighborhoods, including a viewer who tells us in her area, she's tired of people speeding. Shantae Passmore went out to find out who's doing it and how police are responding.
Hey there, we came to Farmington and Joy Roads repeatedly, and to give you a better idea as far as what we saw here, it's almost like people treat the four-way stop as merely a suggestion. And for you to better understand, you have to cruise through the intersection with us.
What's supposed to be simple is turning into a safety concern for Helena Beckman.
They mainly roll through the stop signs, and everybody wants to go at the same time.
Without fail at Farmington and Joy Roads.
It becomes like a lot of horns blowing.
That's exactly what we saw at this four-way stop in Livonia. The white SUV nearly collided with the blue truck. On multiple occasions, Local 4's cameras captured few people coming to a complete stop. Some people either blew through the intersection, most did a roll, slowing down just enough but not completely tapping the brakes. Drone 4 also shows how some drivers don't wait for others to clear the intersection.
What's your concern if people don't adhere to the traffic laws?
I think they're going to get worse. I think that people have become so impatient and everybody is so like self-serving that they're out there just doing whatever.
And Livonia PD tells me it is aware about this intersection. In fact, it does do enforcement here. But after talking to the department, going back and forth on this particular story, it tells me it plans to do enforcement today. We're in Livonia. I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
All right, Shantae, thank you very much. A deadly storm shuts down Jamaica's airport. We are tracking Hurricane Melissa as it approaches land. What the government is urging residents to do in order to stay safe when we come back. Hey, Ben. Ben. Welcome back now, heading to Jamaica, where a powerful Category 5 hurricane is heading towards the island. Hurricane Melissa is expected to become the strongest storm ever recorded there. Urgent preps are underway as catastrophic rain and flooding are both expected. The storm is being blamed for killing 3 people in Haiti and 1 in the Dominican Republic. Melissa is already shutting down Jamaica's airport, leaving some tourists stranded as those who live on the island are left with a decision whether to evacuate or get to higher ground.
We really are just trying to prepare as best and weather the storm here.
We're definitely concerned about the damage, having service, like losing contact with everybody that we can. So definitely getting out is going to be a concern for us once the hurricane passes.
The catastrophic flash flooding could isolate communities in Jamaica for days. Officials are also evacuating those in low-lying areas. The State Department is now urging U.S. citizens to get out of the storm's path while departures are still available.
Safety is priority, and being smart helps a lot. Don't make foolish decisions. Don't make stupid decisions like coming out in the middle of the storm to see what's happening. Please, I'm making a special appeal because we are in a very, very serious time over this next few days, and we need all Jamaica to band together, and most importantly, prayers up, up, up for every single Jamaican and Jamaica, land we love.
All right, let's get to Ashley Barresi, who is tracking that hurricane and our weather at home. Hey, Ash.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Calm conditions across Metro Detroit over the next couple days. Breezy, but calm when it comes to our sunshine, and not tracking any rain to the later part of the week. So by this afternoon, we are going to be hitting 56 degrees for the afternoon high. Pretty on par with where we should be, at least at this point in October. And you need the sunglasses if you're going to be out and about. Speaking of out and about, if you're going to be walking around downtown Detroit tonight, maybe heading to the Pistons game. 7 o'clock tip-off at LCA. You can plan for 50s around the dinner hour, but 40s when you are leaving LCA and walking to your car. Clear skies, so you don't need the rain gear, but you want that extra layer. This is going to be chilly out there. We stay away from the rain until we get into Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and that's when we start to see that moisture creeping into the area. By Thursday afternoon, better chance for some of that rain to be across southeastern Michigan. Lifting out of here by the time we get to midday on Friday. So I won't rule out a drip or a drop for the morning hours of Halloween, but the trick-or-treating forecast looking a little more promising with this latest model run as we're going to be peeling back those clouds, in fact, as Friday afternoon rolls on. Now, there's still a little bit of moisture that dances around the area, the Great Lakes area, by Saturday and Sunday, so we could have a couple little off and on showers this weekend, but not a washout. So diving into your trick-or-treat forecast right now, I'm going to keep the skies rather clear, but it will be windy. So you have the morning rain chance, but just cool and breezy, falling out of the 50s into the 40s throughout a good chunk of your trick-or-treat time. Come Saturday, it's a night game at the Big House, so if you are heading to the Michigan-Purdue game, just note that you need to plan for 40s, and we will have a slight chance for a passing shower. Just showed you some of that moisture lingering across the region come Saturday, so we won't rule out a rain chance, but overall it's going to be mostly cloudy and cool. Are you tailgating outside of Ford Field on Sunday? We missed the Lions over the weekend, that's for sure, but Vikings taking on the Lions here at home, 1 o'clock kickoff, and you can plan for mostly cloudy skies with a slight chance for a shower, probably better chances though after the game, so maybe not impacting the tailgating as much as your walk back to your car after the Lions game. So your 7-day forecast shows that we stay pretty steadily in the 50s. We do dip below average by a few degrees for your Thursday and Friday as the rain chances increase Thursday. But like I said, we'll dry things out going into your trick-or-treating and hold on to a couple slight chances through the weekend with those overnight lows on either side of 40.
Ashley, thank you. Speaking of trick-or-treating, if your Halloween candy haul feels more expensive and a little less chocolatey, you're not imagining it. When we come back, why experts say prices are jumping for candy yet again. Welcome back, everybody. Halloween candy is likely to cost more this season with less chocolate in the mix. Research shows that candy prices are up nearly 11% this year compared to 2% last year. Brand prices are rising too, with Hershey variety packs up 22% and Mars, the maker of M&M's and Milky Way, up 12%. Some candy makers are introducing flavors less reliant on chocolate, like cinnamon-flavored Kit Kats. Aish. Higher cocoa prices and U.S. tariffs are affecting aluminum packaging, which are also pushing costs up. The Mega Millions jackpot keeps on climbing. It's now $714 million, which is the 9th largest in its history. No winning tickets matched Friday's numbers. The next drawing is tomorrow night. If somebody wins, it would be the second largest payout during the month of October. Well, Ford and Google are teaming up to make one of America's most known off-road trails available to everyone. The automaker will launch this partnership with Google Maps to bring the entire 5,900-mile Trans-America Trail to Google Maps Street View. In order to make that happen, a Ford Bronco equipped with Google's Street View camera spent 35 days crossing 13 different states. Well, deer season is already underway for bow hunters up north, and as firearm season approaches, there's a way to turn your harvest into hope. Coming up, a DNR program that's helping hunters feed Michigan families and the incredible number of meals they've already provided across the state.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Thank you so much for joining us here. Let's take a live look at Drummond Island this morning. In about 2 weeks, Hunters from around Michigan will get ready for firearm season, but many are already on the hunt during bow season, which goes until November 14th. If you're getting a deer or maybe two, but don't need all that venison, you can actually help other Michiganders. There's a DNR program called Hunters Feeding Michigan. It connects hunters, wild game processors, and charities to make sure the venison gets to those who need it most. Last year, the program donated more than 560,000 meals to people struggling to put food on the table. And since 2007, Hunters Feeding Michigan has provided more than 3 million servings of venison to families in need. Joining us this morning to talk more about the program is Tom Weston with the Michigan DNR. Tom, thank you so much. I apologize. I didn't even know this program existed, but when I started looking into it, you guys have done some great things.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a very important program. We've been around since 2007. And really last year, we've had a great year, donated roughly 140,000 pounds, and equates to really over 500,000 meals served in Michigan. And really the exciting news for us is that we've partnered with the Food Bank Council of Michigan and Feeding America to get this venison distributed throughout this whole state through both peninsulas.
I'm not asking you to age or date yourself, sir, but can you kind of go back to the beginning here and talk about how this started? Was it a couple of hunters saying, you know, we could probably do something good here?
You know, it was a group of hunters back in 2005 when the program was started. They got a hold of their local legislature, and they actually passed a law that gives us the ability to accept donations from customers when they buy a DNR license. So this year we've received about $300,000 in donations from those hunters and anglers. So it's really a program where hunters are feeding Michiganders.
Yeah.
And if you do the research, really 1 person out of 7 in Michigan is really food insecure.
Yep.
A lot of those federal budget cuts are really hitting those food banks hard. And this is where a program like ours really comes into play.
Sure. If I am a hunter and interested in donating, what's the process like? What do I have to do?
Pretty straightforward. Number one, just Google our website, Michigan DNR Hunters Feeding Michigan program. We'll give you a list of all the processors. All you got to do is harvest the deer, put your tag on it, field dress it, and drop it off at one of our local processors. There's no fee at all to the hunter when they drop off a deer. The nice thing is, through these donations, we can pay these processors roughly $120 a deer, which is a pretty good wage for them in times like this.
Yeah. You know, it kind of, oh, sorry to cut you off there a little bit. It must feel good to do something that is pretty natural in the state of Michigan to help people who could use it, especially right now.
And that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, we serve the public, right? That's what government's supposed to do. And this is the most rewarding program I ever worked on here at the Michigan DNR. Being able to deliver clean, protein-rich venison to these pantries and help people in need, I mean, that just means the world to me.
Right. It's also serving 2 different purposes here, because we obviously have a deer population that needs to be culled a little bit. So you're kind of doing 2 things at once.
Yeah. I mean, we've lost 30% of our deer hunters since 2003. You know, we're losing habitat, you know, specifically here in southern Michigan. We do have an overpopulation of white-tailed deer, primarily, you know, south of Clare, that are really affecting crop farmers, cart deer accidents. It's only going to get worse as the habitat is lost and we continue to lose hunters. So yeah, it's there's an opportunity out there to help the environment, but also help feed hungry people too.
Yeah. You know what? Well, I've got you on the line here. I also want to ask you too, in line with that you're losing hunters. The DNR has made it pretty easy to get licensed for a season, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, our deer season pretty much starts from mid-September and runs through end of January. We allow hunters to buy really up to 22 deer licenses. They can buy 20 doe tags and 2 buck tags throughout our various seasons. We have a late antlerless season in January, and those doe tags are only $5. So we're trying to make it easy to get folks out, you know, get them away from the screens and get out and enjoy nature and really help our program a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Tom with the Michigan DNR, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, when we come back, we're going to take a look at your local and national and international headlines, including an arrest in that big heist over in Paris with those royal jewels. And before we go to break, let's check the big board on Wall Street right now. We'll see how things are doing and what the numbers are. Coming off Friday's gains driven by big tech companies and a positive inflation report, the Dow added 472 points, NASDAQ gained 263, the S&P 500 rose 53 points. Welcome back, everybody. Detroit police are investigating a deadly shooting on the city's east side. It happened yesterday afternoon on Beaconsfield near Meringue. According to police, the victim is a man in his 60s. Circumstances surrounding the shooting not quite clear right now, though. If you saw or know anything, please call Detroit Police or Crime Stoppers. That number, of course, is 1-800-SPEAK-UP. A Warren police officer is facing charges after he was accused of stealing money from a youth charity event. 29-year-old Jack Barnes is accused of misusing funds from the Police Explorers. That's a program for young people interested in law enforcement careers. Barnes was an associate advisor with the group, which held a charity event in July. After that event, another officer noticed something was kind of off with the money. If convicted, he could face up to 5 years in prison. Today, an anesthesiologist who pled guilty to a federal charge of distribution of child pornography will be sentenced. Joel Adelsberg has been practicing medicine since 2016, working with Anesthesia Associates of Ann Arbor and Trinity Health. During a search, 4 phones were seized, and a forensic review found more than 100 videos and photos of child sexual abuse. The investigation started after Adelsberg was accused of having a sexually charged online conversation with a 15-year-old. Adelsberg faces up to 15 years in prison. Well, this morning, President Trump is in Japan for the next stop on his three-country Asia tour, all leading up to a highly anticipated meeting with China's president, with word of a break in the stalemate over a critical trade deal. NBC's Alice Barr has those details from Washington.
Hi there. President Trump met this morning with Japan's emperor at the Imperial Palace, though China is still center stage because that trade relationship is arguably the most important and most likely to impact prices for American consumers. So word of a framework for a trade deal is welcome news. President Trump arriving in Japan this morning for the second leg of his Asia tour. The president meeting with Japan's emperor before talks later with the country's first female prime minister. The trip set to culminate in a meeting Thursday in South Korea with Chinese President Xi Jinping amid an apparent breakthrough in high-stakes trade talks.
I think we're going to have a successful transaction for both countries.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on NBC's Meet the Press announcing a framework for a trade deal to avoid President Trump's threatened 100% tariff increase on Chinese imports to the U.S.
I believe we've reached a very substantial framework that will avoid that.
Inking a deal would help to wind down the trade war between the world's two biggest economies, while at the same time tensions ratcheting up with one of America's closest allies.
Canada has been ripping us off for a long time. One of the most difficult countries to deal with has been Canada.
President Trump doubling down on slapping an additional 10% tariff on goods coming in from Canada because of an anti-tariff Government of Ontario TV ad featuring segments edited from a 1987 radio address by President Reagan.
America's jobs and growth are at stake.
The ad ran during the World Series over the weekend, but Ontario's premier says it will stop today. No meeting over the weekend when Canada's Prime Minister and President Trump were both in Malaysia for a trade summit, leaving a mixed picture on trade as American businesses and consumers wait for the impact on prices at home. While keeping Canada at arm's length for now, President Trump left the door open to meeting with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un and potentially extending his trip to accommodate that. He also said he would visit China's president in Beijing next year and would host him at the White House or Mar-a-Lago in the future. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
All right, over to France now, where police have now made 2 arrests in that bold jewel heist at the Louvre in Paris. 2 men accused of organizing the theft and playing a role in the criminal plots are in custody. Investigators say the latest suspect was caught at Charles de Gaulle Airport just as he was trying to leave the country. Police are still searching for the rest of the group as they work to recover the 8 stolen crown jewels valued at roughly $102 million. Former NFL star Adrian Peterson is facing new legal trouble in Texas. Police say the 40-year-old was arrested yesterday morning in Sugar Land. That's about 20 minutes south of Houston. Peterson was charged with driving while intoxicated and unlawfully carrying a weapon. This is Peterson's second DWI charge this year following his arrest back in April. As of now, police have not released any more details surrounding that arrest, though. Alrighty, fall is in full swing as we head into the week of Halloween here. Ashley is going to break down your forecast. Do we need to bundle underneath the costume? But Ma, you can't see it. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. With Halloween right around the corner, you might be planning to carve some pumpkins this week. Well, here's a reminder to be extra careful. According to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, more than 1,500 Americans every year end up in the emergency room around Halloween due to pumpkin carving accidents. Sharp knives can easily slip and cause serious injuries to some fingers, hands, even tendons. Experts say, of course, it's best to keep knives out of the hands of your kids and leave the carving up to the adults. Breaking news there, everybody. Here's Ashley with your Halloween forecast.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Calm conditions across Metro Detroit over the next couple days. Breezy, but calm when it comes to our sunshine, and not tracking any rain to the later part of the week. So by this afternoon, we are going to be hitting 56 degrees for the afternoon high. Pretty on par with where we should be, at least at this point in October. And you need the sunglasses if you're going to be out and about. Speaking of out and about, if you're going to be walking around downtown Detroit tonight, maybe heading to the Pistons game. 7 o'clock tip-off at LCA. You can plan for 50s around the dinner hour, but 40s when you are leaving LCA and walking to your car. Clear skies, so you don't need the rain gear, but you want that extra layer, as it's going to be chilly out there. We stay away from the rain until we get into Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and that's when we start to see that moisture creeping into the area. By Thursday afternoon, better chance for some of that rain to be across southeastern Michigan. Lifting out of here by the time we get to midday on Friday. So I won't rule out a drip or a drop for the morning hours of Halloween, but the trick-or-treating forecast looking a little more promising with this latest model run, as we're going to be peeling back those clouds, in fact, as Friday afternoon rolls on. Now, there's still a little bit of moisture that dances around the area, the Great Lakes area, by Saturday and Sunday, so we could have a couple little off and on showers this weekend, but not a washout. So diving into your trick-or-treat forecast right now, I'm going to keep the skies rather clear, but it will be windy. So you have the morning rain chance, but just cool and breezy, falling out of the 50s into the 40s throughout a good chunk of your trick-or-treat time. Come Saturday, it's a night game at the Big House, so if you are heading to the Michigan-Purdue game, just note that you need to plan for 40s, and we will have a slight chance for a passing shower. Just showed you some of that moisture lingering across the region come Saturday, so we won't rule out a rain chance, but overall it's going to be mostly cloudy and cool. Are you tailgating outside of Ford Field on Sunday? We missed the Lions over the weekend, that's for sure. But Vikings taking on the Lions here at home, 1 o'clock kickoff, and you can plan for mostly cloudy skies with a slight chance for a shower. Probably better chances, though, after the game, so maybe not impacting the tailgating as much as your walk back to your car after the Lions game. So your 7-day forecast shows that we stay pretty steadily in the 50s. We do dip below average by a few degrees for your Thursday and Friday as the rain chances increase Thursday. But like I said, a little dry things out going into your trick-or-treating, and hold on to a couple slight chances through the weekend with those overnight lows on either side of 40.
All right, Ash, thank you so much. When we come back, we're going to check in with Kim and Tati from Live in the D to see what's happening on their show. We'll be right back. It is what it is. You send them, we show them. That's our mantra for our My Picks of the day. Today's My Pick is from Sue over in Farmington Hills, showing her dog Sally's first time playing in the leaves. Aw. Anybody can submit those types of photos under the My Picks tab over on clickondetroit.com. So much more coming up throughout the day here on Local 4. Oh, it's that camera over there. I just assumed it was over here because Kim and Tati from Live in the D are here. This would be baby's first fall. Are you going to throw her in the leaves?
I mean, she's a little too fragile for that. Definitely the 2-year-old, though. He's getting
such
thrown.
a bad thing to say.
Right?
I know.
The leaves, they provide so much cushion. Just toss her in. It'll be fine.
Yes, but yeah, get some great pictures that way. Maybe just like a light set down in the leaves. You know?
I'm not there for it.
I'm not there for
Kevin's
it.
going to launch her in.
No. We're going to get a knock on our door from Child Protective Services. Well, good morning, Nick.
Good morning. Good morning. Live in the D, about an hour or so away. What do we got today on this Monday?
Listen,
it's Music Monday? Music Monday?
There you go. You're starting to get the hang of it now.
There's a day for everything.
Yes, there is.
Mike Leslie will be with us.
Okay.
You're going to love his song.
Yeah?
This guy is super talented. He has a show coming up this coming weekend.
Okay.
He's just doing big things. He's really good, just an acoustic guitar. Right?
And just a good guy as well. Like, we got to talk with him. So I'm excited for everyone to see that. Also, hello, Amon-Ra St. Brown is not on the show today. But his brother is on the show.
Okay.
They're talking about the St. Brown Foundation. So
Oh,
there's a
very
story
cool.
behind that we
Okay.
really want to share with our viewers. And then also, we've got Halloween this Friday.
Yeah, and what is the etiquette for Halloween? So that's going to be our conversation on What's the Buzz.
Etiquette for what?
There's a lot of etiquette.
We're talking about like parties or trick-or-treating?
Trick-or-treating.
Ah.
How old is too old to trick-or-treat?
Is there an age limit?
I don't know. We're
That's
gonna
the
talk about
question.
it.
I'm asking you.
How many pieces
Also-
of candy should you be obligated to give out, Nick?
Yeah.
Obligated
What
to
size?
give out?
What size candy?
Well, it depends. Do you want to be the cool house on the block? Do you want to give the full-size candy bars?
Oh, I want to be the cool house.
Conversation.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And I firmly believe there is no age limit cutoff. If you want to go have fun and you want to dress up, go do it.
Key part, dress up. Don't
Yo,
have
yeah.
to
He's
dress
17
up.
years old
Don't be shown up by a house as a 21-year-old and just in your jeans
Looking
and your
for
Vans.
candy.
Right.
Yeah. So
Give me some effort.
Also, time. When do we go trick or treating? Is there like a cutoff time? Is it when the sun goes down? But no, you want to trick or treat when it's dark.
What's the start time?
Exactly.
That's what we're
These are the
saying, yeah.
questions that we will be answering today on What's the Buzz.
Burning in the hearts
Is there
of
going to be an
America.
answer? Or are we just going to bicker about it for a couple
Well, you know,
hours?
we're gonna set the rules. Okay.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out
You're
what
going to
some of
hear
them
it
are.
here first.
Yeah.
All the rules. It's actually, some cities have gotten to a point now where they do set the times.
I know.
You can't blame them because little kids do not need to be out in the dark, even if they're with their parents. It's like one wrong move.
Yeah.
I saw that in a parking lot a few weeks ago, and I was like, this lady is not paying attention to her kid.
Exactly.
All right.
I'm honking the horn.
3
like a
seconds
crazy
left in the
person.
show. Tati's
Bye.
already gone on the
11
rant.
a.m.
Watch
Join
that Live
us.
in the D.
Bye, guys.